we perish for the lack of knowledge. But today we are growing for wisdom. It's a lot. Cobb County led the way first in most things, but now through the NAACP, we are the head. We've always been the head. We've always led the way. It's been a good work. The Oral History Project was a great project. There was no history documented. Dr. Tom Scott, one of the world's best historians, with Kathy Scott behind his back, his wife. Today I was so honored. Judge Botiford sent Tex, who was out of the state, in another state, because I knew he would have been there. When Judge Harris came up, she came up to me alone, nobody knew, to say, Mary, thank you. When I looked back and saw Judge Thompson, who has allowed me, I was the youngest baby in Cobb County, Georgia. I wasn't the first, but the youngest. I asked the Lord, God, if you're going to put me in the courts, you got to put me with a teacher. I'm telling you, as the Synoptic Gospel, God placed me with Judge James G. Botiford. He met and instructed his mind. Teacher, sure. I've sat with some fine judges, Judge Schuster helped him on his first campaign. Judge Adele Grubbs. Judge, so many of them. I've seen us document the history of Judge Dick Custer, the first black judge ever in the history of Cobb County. I witnessed all this stuff. God put me in places. I've seen the first black man, Judge Nathan Wade, be seated in the city of Marietta. I announced in 2017 the first female ever in the history of Cobb County to retire. Judge Adele Grubbs. See, when they sent me to Georgetown University to stand for the 9 to 5 women, I didn't know nothing about no 9 to 5 women. See, I didn't know about all these organizations. But God put teachers before me. This is what this meant to me today. When Rose Wing, one of the former Republican presidents, when Charles Spann, when Judge Ann Harris came up today, this is what this means to me. When I worked with the Democratic women, this is what this meant to me. I worked with all parties because the Lord had to give it to me. Mary, you're a saint. You can't be biased. That was one of the things of the NAACP. We was on nobody's side and everybody's side because that's what our work was about. When I worked with the Hispanic community, that's what this means to me. When I worked with, I had never heard of the Asian community. When I worked with the Asian community, this is what this meant to me. When I worked with COPS, one of the finest organizations that I've ever worked with under law enforcement, this is what this meant to me. So I'm thankful. I'm thankful, Miss Bonner. Jareen, when I worked with public safety, I went over and took a picture that I'm going to post. The bus drivers. I like being among the common workers. When I went over there today coming this direction, I remember the flood of 2009. I saw the buses lined up. That day they was lined up and we were standing out there waiting to hear the order while we couldn't go home standing out in all that rain. I could just go down the road and just tell you senior homes that I've worked with. It wasn't about the money, because I didn't make that much money, but it was about advancement. The advancement of color and God's people. When I saw the young peoples today, when I looked at Fred Blankenship up there emceeing the program, so many, Louis Grahams, Monica Kaufmans came to my rescue. I said a little about Dover Farrell, but I want to tell you, he's a powerful man. Dover Farrell, when my home was shot into, our home was shot into, before morning, the United States Justice Department had a telegram at my door. Before that evening, I had a telephone number with a direct line to Washington, D.C. When I ran for office, it was dangerous times. Mr. Reynolds in the U.S. Justice Department, I had a telephone number directly to Washington, D.C., thanks to Dover. Thanks to the Cobb NAACP. We were a city not set aside. Mableton, Acworth, Kennesaw, Marietta. We were a county. The purpose of changing the name, revitalize, we had to first revitalize the old chapter to great standing, then move it to a county chapter. We didn't need 2 chapters in one county. That was a fight. We needed to combine all of the other 6 cities. When the bus line runs, it runs through all the counties. What affects one city affects all the counties. When those bad pipelines came down through South Cobb County, and the reason Mableton had to be shut down, okay, would affect all counties, not just one city. So we had to change it to the Cobb County branch of the NAACP. One president, one chapter. We didn't need a lot of them. Dad Flournoy, I call him Dad Flournoy, Judge Flournoy, Senior. Dad Ingram, Judge Flournoy, Judge Ingram, Vicki Chastain. So many helped us, y'all. When Oscar Freeman became president, we didn't have 50 members. If we didn't have 1,000, we had right there at the door. He came out of Lockheed Martin with much knowledge. Oscar was very polished. See, you think that being the background worker might be the flunky. It's not. You're important. You keep everything moving. You keep everything going. That's what this means to me. When I see the growth and when I see the Judge Adele Grubbs sitting as a senior judge, a female, when I look at this yard, this sanitation yard, and I see the workers making more than $2 an hour, I'm thankful. I'm thankful for my son, who God spared his life. I'm thankful. I have another piece of this to make, of the little 7-year-old son that he spared his life. Thank you, Cobb branch of the NAACP, for even thinking about me. They owe me nothing. You didn't have to think about me. I don't take it for granted. I thank people. Our work is ministry. Our calling is for real. When we are working with clean hands and a clean heart, Roy Barnes taught me about working for the masses of the people. I remember that day sitting there listening to him talk to me about work when we was dealing with jobs, working with the Cobb Chamber of Commerce, Theo Sanders, different one. Oh, I could call millions. I could call hundreds of names. I know the history. And the greatest part of what this means to me is, in my heart, there's not 1 ounce of hate. There's not prejudice in my heart. There's love in my heart. When I read what it was saying, one race, the human race, change begins with you. That's what this means to me. I'm honored that my bishop, Norman Odell Harper, and Mother McGrew took me to another level to make me go. Well, they didn't make me, but the work encouraged me to get higher degree. I thought, I'm old. What am I getting degrees for? I'm honored to be an evangelist under my brother, Pastor Sidney Ward, and my son, Pastor Alan Cater. That's what this means to me. Work. I was honored to be among only a few that sat at the first inauguration of the President of the United States that was black, thanks to Saxby Chambliss and Cobb County. That's what that means. That's what this means to me. I didn't just go myself. Trust me, we had an army that went with us. Young peoples from Loving Good, Pebblebrook, Lindley, Harmony Leland, different schools. It's always good to take somebody with you, because we will leave the scene and others will come on the scene. I'm going to say bye for right now, because I got another part of this that I have to do. You be blessed. And Cobb County branch of the NAACP, thank you. Thank you, Rose. Thank you, Ann Harris, Rose Wing, Charles Spann, different ones that say we know your work. I want my works to speak for me. Be blessed.